Guys. Today we are going to finish our nominees for picture books for older readers for the California Young Readers Medal. So far, we have read This Way, Charlie by Karen Levis, and we've read Holes in the Sky by Patricia Polacco, and now we are going to read Dinosaur Lady, The Daring Discoveries of Mary Anning, the First Paleontologist. Words by Linda Skeers and pictures by Marta Alvarez Miganes. There's no A down there. Now, when I like this, I like to first skip forward. I happen to know there is a timeline here in the back. I'm going to show you guys the timeline. You can always pause it and check that out if you'd like to. But I think one of the first things you need to recognize is that she was born in 1799. Is that more than 200 years ago or less? It's more. 200 years plus 1799 would be 1999. And many of you were not even alive in 1999. Mrs. Barrett was. Okay, knowing that, it helps us put it a little bit into context because this is a true story about a real person. So you have to, her dress is a little different than something we might wear going out looking for seashells, right? Now you know why. Mary Anning dodged high tides and crashing waves to scour the beach near her hometown of Lyme Regis, England. She filled her basket with curiosities to sell to tourists, like seashells and fossils with fanciful local names like snake stones, those are ammonites, devil toenails, belemnites, and angel wings, Petricola faladiformis. It's quite a mouthful. You see that word? She scrambled over crumbling cliffs and rocky peaks while avoiding life-threatening landslides. Despite the constant danger, Mary wasn't afraid. She was determined to uncover the area's long-buried secrets, no matter the risk. So these are the snake stones, the ammonites. Kind of cool. Mary learned to read and write at Sunday school, but she wanted to learn more. She had so many questions about the bones and fossils she found, and she needed answers. She borrowed books and copied scientific papers. She sketched intricate drawings of her discoveries, and she made notes, lots and lots of notes. One morning, when Mary and her brother were exploring the cliffs, they saw something surprising. Nestled in the rock was a large eye socket looking right back at them. Guys, imagine if you were out looking for shells and all of a sudden you see an eyeball looking at you. Carefully, they chiseled away dirt and stone to expose a 4-foot-long head with a pointed snout, a massive jaw, hundreds of teeth. See the little teeth in there? It was frightening, but Mary wasn't scared. She was fascinated. They coaxed workers from the village to help them dig it out and carry it home. Can you imagine if you came home with that? Oh, I was out looking for seashells and look what I found. While the men returned to their work, Mary set out to find the creature's body. The cliffs were constantly shifting and sliding. It had to be buried nearby, but where? Day after day, Mary scrambled over the cliffs. Week after week, she searched. Month after month. After almost a year, Mother Nature lent Mary a helping hand. The powerful wind and pounding rain from a devastating storm caused several landslides. In one night, The cliff's ancient layers were exposed, layers that would have taken Mary years to uncover with her hammer and chisel. Something caught Mary's eye. Bones. Boldly, Mary chipped away and uncovered ribs, vertebrae, flippers. Was it a crocodile? Fish? Lizard? No, Mary had discovered a creature never seen before. Was she scared? Nope, not at all. But many in the village were. Soon they were talking about Mary's monster. Word traveled to a rich collector who offered to buy the skeleton. Mary hated to see it go, but the money would help the Anning family survive for months. The collector donated it to a London museum, and scientists and geologists flocked to the exhibit. They studied it, calculated, debated. They named it Ichthyosaurus. Where is that? Ichthyosaurus, which meant fish lizard. The word dinosaur hadn't even been invented yet. So there's the creature. They made an announcement that shocked the world. Mary's find wasn't just old, it was millions of years old. Their declaration shattered the commonly held belief that the Earth was only 6,000 years old. So they thought the Earth was 6,000 years old, but when they realized that this was millions of years old, clearly they realized they were wrong. Also, no one had realized that a species could become extinct until they studied the remains of a creature that no longer walked on Earth. While others discussed her discovery, Mary kept exploring and learning. Over the years, Mary also found many odd, dark, lumpy pebbles inside the skeletons. She examined them. She reread her notes, studied her drawings. Mary figured out what they were. Except it wasn't something a lady should talk about. Do you have any ideas? But Mary was more of a scientist than a proper lady. So she proclaimed that these stones, known as bezoars, were actually fossilized poop. Geologists sneered, scientists scoffed. Then they took a closer look and realized she was right. Mary's discovery helped scholars learn more about what ancient creatures ate. Have you ever thought about how they know that some dinosaurs ate meat and other dinosaurs ate plants? And they sort of confirm that by looking at the dinosaur teeth? Well, one of the ways they know that is by looking at dinosaur poop so that they know what they ate. Mary also found many long, thin, cone-shaped fossils. They were unremarkable, ordinary, at least on the outside. Curious, she cut one open. Tucked inside was a small pocket filled with a thick, dark substance. Mary was even more curious now. Adding a few drops of water turned the substance into ink. Mary's discovery proved that ancient aquatic creatures squirted ink to hide themselves from hungry predators. What do you know that we have today that does that? When Mary was 24, she made another amazing discovery. This creature didn't have legs or flippers. It had wings. Mary had unearthed a prehistoric flying reptile called a pterosaur. Around the world, scientists were talking about Mary's incredible discoveries, but they weren't talking about Mary. Not at first. Even though Mary could identify a species from one single bone and rebuild an entire skeleton like a jigsaw puzzle, she could not join the Geological Society of London. Women were not allowed. She couldn't attend lectures or teach university classes or even take classes. But Mary knew how her discoveries were important and would change the way that people viewed the Earth's past. And so did many geologists, scientists, and scholars. Because where did they go when they had questions? Straight to Mary's cottage. Eager to learn more, they followed her over cliffs, even if terrified of them, even if it terrified them. And it did. Just like long buried fossils, Mary's achievements have slowly been uncovered and shared with the world. Her daring discoveries help form paleontology, the brand of geology that uses fossils to study prehistoric life. And she did all that with a homemade hammer, a chisel, and a never ending quest to fearlessly keep exploring and learning. Here we have some bone bits and fossil facts. A paleontologist is a scientist who studies fossils. Megalosaurus was the first dinosaur officially named in 1824. In 1842, paleontologist Richard Owen coined the term dinosaur from the Greek dinos, meaning terrible, and saurus, meaning lizard. So dinosaur the word came about in 1842, and it meant terrible lizard. Over 700 different kinds of dinosaurs have been discovered and named. A fossil, Latin for having been dug up, is the remains of an animal or plant that has turned to rock over many years. An ammonite, looks like this, is a prehistoric sea creature with a spiral shell often found on beaches. A belemnite is a prehistoric sea creature like a squid, kind of can see that, which squirts ink to defend itself from predators. Coprolites is a fancy name for fossilized poop. Also known as bezoars, they were at one time thought to have all sorts of medicinal properties. How would you like to be given fossilized poop for your medicine? Don't complain about the medicine you get. Petricola philadiformis is a type of clam, philadiformis, is a type of clam known as a false angel wing because its ribbed white shells resemble angel wings. So that was the other thing that she would pick up and sell. Dinosaur fossils have been found on all 7 continents. Some dinosaur eggs were as small as your thumbnail. Think about the size of your thumbnail. Others, the size of basketballs. And here is a little timeline of her life. Oh, I love a good timeline. May 21st, 1789, she's born in Lyme Regis, England. On August 19th, 1800, baby Mary is struck by lightning and survives. Wow, surviving a lightning strike when she was just a year old. In 1810, her father died. In 1811, she and her brother discover an ichthyosaurus. In 1823, she discovers the first complete plesiosaurus. In 1824, she officially announces that bezoar stones are actually fossilized poop. In 1826, she discovers a belemnite fossil containing dried ink, and she opens Anning's Fossil Depot. In 1828, Mary discovers a pterosaur, a prehistoric flying reptile that later became known as Pterodactylus macronix, or a pterodactyl. In 1829, Mary goes to London, her first and only trip out of Lyme Regis. Imagine that, she only left her hometown once. Mary discovers Squaloraja polysporidilla, a fish believed to be an evolutionary link between sharks and rays. In 1844, King Frederick of August of Saxony, King Frederick August II of Saxony visits Mary in her shop. A king came to visit her. In 1847, Mary dies of breast cancer at the age of 47. Now get this, it wasn't until 2010, but in 2010, the Royal Society of London names Mary Anning one of the 10 most influential British women of science. Author's note. Okay. Even as a young girl, Mary had the uncanny ability to spot a small fossil, seashell, or bone fragment that others overlooked. She used this skill when she accompanied her father on his scavenging trips. Her father was a carpenter and a cabinet maker who supplemented his meager earnings. So he didn't make a lot of money, he had meager earnings by finding seashells and fossils to sell to tourists vacationing in the area, taking in the sea air. Mary was looking for trinkets to sell, but she was also looking for answers to questions that baffled her. What created these strange looking fossils? Where did they come from? What are they? She spent her entire life exploring, studying, and learning. Without any formal education, she was not allowed to go to school, so she couldn't just ask her teacher. And relying on her own observations, intricate drawings, and meticulous notes, she became an expert on prehistoric creatures, earning the nickname Princess of Paleontology. Mary also lived in one of the best fossil hunting places on Earth. Lyme Regis is part of the Jurassic Coast and was underwater 200 million years ago. Storms and winter weather erode and crumble the cliffs, exposing fossils and bones. Mary didn't use special equipment, just a hammer her father had made, a chisel, and a hat that she had shellacked so many times it was hard as a helmet. Mary's father died when she was 11, thrusting Mary, her 14-year-old brother Joseph, and their mother even deeper into poverty. Mary's curiosities now help pay for rent and to buy food. During her lifetime, Mary made 5 major discoveries of previously unknown species and several smaller but still significant finds that helped change the way that people looked at the world and help them better understand the past. When Mary was only 24, she discovered the first complete plesiosaurus, an aquatic creature with flippers that was such an astonishing find, paleontologist Georges Cuvier declared it a fraud. But after he examined it, he proclaimed, "It is the most amazing creature ever discovered." By the time Mary was 27, she had managed to save up enough money to buy a cottage with a glass storefront window and turn the front room into a shop called Anning's Fossil Depot. She proudly displayed her discoveries in the window. It was so unusual for a woman to become a shopkeeper and own her own business that it made headlines in the local newspaper. This tongue twister, written in 1908, is said to be about Mary Anning. See if you've heard this one before. I want to grab something for you. Here it is. I printed it up so you could see it and read it. She sells seashells on the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. For if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore shells. I think that might be the first time I got it all right. Anyway, you can go back and redo that. Just pause it, and then you can read it and see how fast you can get through it without your S's and your SH's blending together. Her portrait now hangs in the Natural History Museum in London. The British Journal for History of Science considers Mary Anning the greatest fossilist the world ever knew. Hey guys, that's pretty cool. Dinosaur Lady, the daring discoveries of Mary Anning, the first paleontologist. Okay, guys, now it's time to choose. I'm not sure which one I'm going to choose, so I can't wait to see how you all vote.